Welcome to our tub. Come on in. It's warm inside, and there's always room for more.
This podcast contains adult material and is intended for mature audiences only. If you're under 18, grab your rubber ducky and find another tub. This one's not for you. Hello and welcome back in the tub for episode 161. I'm Mr. Berg.
And I'm Mrs. Berg.
And this week is actually part one of a two-part episode.
Two-part interview.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't get it all into one. Our guest was...
And there probably could have been more.
Exactly, yeah. Her story, her life path, the career that she has had, and poised to get back in is just, we talked prior to recording. We recorded for almost 2 hours and then talked afterwards. Looking forward to meeting her in a few weeks at Exotica Chicago for the first time. I will say, as we discussed her life and her career paths, because there are
Multiple.
many. I knew of a good bit. Her start in the theater wrestling world and the gorgeous ladies of wrestling back in the 80s.
And her talking about it made me want to check it out because I've never seen any of it.
And it's on YouTube. You can watch all of them, I will say, because I watched one of them at the gym on my phone while I was running the 2 days afterwards.
On your favorite hamster wheel of death.
Yeah. But just a phenomenal woman. I mean, so much to talk about, so much fun. Again, it was a pleasure. We talk about kind of reaching out to her and trying to get this scheduled. She was so gracious to want to hop on the show and sit and have a conversation. And, again, an open book, beautiful woman. She is the pillar and shows that, guess what? You can do what you want to do. Age doesn't matter, as she says. She's 59. Sure as hell doesn't look it.
Not at all.
And heading back into the industry. So, without further suspense... Okay, that didn't work. Didn't have it plugged in. Oh, well. We are welcoming Tyffany Million to the show. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy part one of a two-part series. Hello and welcome back in the tub. It is a true honor to have our next guest join us in the tub this week. This gorgeous blonde bombshell has been entertaining people for decades. She's kicked ass in the ring as a glow wrestler in the 80s, shown it on screen in the 90s during her AVN Hall of Fame career, locked it up in the 2000s as a licensed bounty hunter, and wiped it as well as a mom. And now she's poised to return to the adult industry for another go-round. Again, it is a true pleasure to welcome Tyffany Million into the tub this week. How are you?
What an intro. Thank you very much. I'm well, and thank you for asking.
He does his research.
Yes.
He did.
and again, thank you, because as we reached out to you, and it was, I will say that there was a point we had saw you on social media, and I had followed you, and it wasn't too long after that you had followed us back, and I'm like, oh, there's the chance. All right, and sent a message. Hey, would you be interested in coming on the show? Because myself, as we look through that, as I go back, Glow Wrestling, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, I remember that. That was, it was my early teens, mid teens. I mean, it was the best thing to watch because it wasn't trying to watch scrambled bars on HBO and get a boob shot. It was beautiful women wrestling. I remember that. So again, and then through your time in the industry, it is a true pleasure. So again, welcome. And before we really get started down this road, can you let everyone know where can they find you online and on social media?
The best place to find me actually is at my website, which is TiffanyMillion.com. So either spelling works. The correct spelling, which is TYFFANY million.com, or the misspelling, TIFFANY million.com. So when I bought my domain, I bought the misspelling because I have been fighting a battle for over 30 years with the spelling of my name. It doesn't matter how many times I spell it the correct way, which is with TY. People insist on spelling my name TI, and I correct them over and over and over. Back in the 90s, when I would fill out the model release for my movies, I would spell it TY. It would end up on the box cover half the time as TI. When I'm chatting with fans online, they will spell my name TI. I'll say, it's TY, please. The next time they type in my name, they spell it TI. So I said, okay, I give up. Bought both domains and just redirected TI to TY. So now I capture all the traffic. So you can just go to TiffanyMillion.com and all of my social links are there.
And that's a pretty smart play. I mean, you buy the domain and just automatically redirect it. Simple, easy, cost a couple bucks, and it's done. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I was like, I give up. Okay, you win. I'll just redirect it.
Oh, awesome. Well, so, boy, going back to the intro, yes, a lot of different things you have done in the span of your career. Many different careers. And
yes, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, and just, extremely interesting. So, we'll definitely want to discuss the adult side at a point because, well, the 90s to 2024, that is a different industry. It's changed.
Oh, you're telling me.
Yeah. But so back at the start, and the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, what at that point, what was what got you into it? I guess ultimately is that question. What drove you there?
Well, the funny thing is I was not an athletic person whatsoever growing up. I practically flunked physical education in school. I was so not athletic. I was not into wrestling. I was an actress, and I had moved from the San Francisco Bay Area to Southern California to get into the entertainment industry, and I was living in Orange County. My agent was in North Hollywood, so a couple times a week I would make the drive from Orange County to North Hollywood and go sit in his office, and we would go through all of the different roles that were coming out. And, he would say, well, what do you want to be cast for? You want to be cast for this, cast for that. And so one day I was sitting there at his desk, and there was a notice on the wall behind him, and it said Glow auditions. I had recently become a fan of the show. I was living in Orange County with these two lesbians who were a couple, and the one who was the more manly of the two was a huge fan of Glow. So one morning, I was sound asleep, and she came banging on my door, and she said, Sandy, now that's my real name. She says, Sandy, you got to come downstairs and watch this crazy show with me. And I was like, what? And she says, yeah, it's this show called Glow. It's these sexy girls, and they're wearing these tight, skimpy costumes, and they have this crazy makeup and this wild hair and these comedy sketches. And I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. So I went downstairs and I watched the show with her, and I was instantly hooked. And I was like, wow, this is a great show, Carmen. I'm really into it. So when I saw the notice on the wall behind my agent, I was like, yeah, Michael, send me out for that. And he looked at me like I was high, and he was like, you want to go out for that? And I go, yeah, send me out for that. And he's like, all right. So he sent me out to meet with Matt Simber, who was the director of Glow. I went to his tennis club in Agoura Hills, which is in the West San Fernando Valley. And I met with him and talked with him for a couple of hours. And he cast me on the show right there on the spot. A little interesting trivia, though, I'll back up a little bit. Next to the notice, the Glow notice on the wall behind my agent was a headshot. And there was this really good-looking young man in the headshot. And I said, Michael, who is that handsome guy in that headshot? He turns around all proudly and he points at it and he says, that's John. He's going to be a big star someday. It was Johnny Depp.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Johnny Depp and I were repped by the same agency when he first came to Hollywood before he got on 21 Jump Street. Just a little trivia.
Oh, that
Wow.
is, a small world when you get out
Yes.
there. Interesting.
Yes. So anyhow, so back to Glow. So Matt Simber, who was the director of Glow, was the husband of Jane Mansfield when she was killed. They had a son together named Tony Simber. Tony and Matt, so Tony was the assistant director for Glow, and Matt was the director. So Jane Mansfield's husband and son ran Glow.
Wow. Okay. Did not know that.
So they gave us, so after Matt and the Glow execs had met with all the girls in Los Angeles that they, they had cast all these different girls, they gave all of us a day and a time to meet in Las Vegas at an apartment complex where they had rented apartments for all the girls. And there were well over, there must have been 125, 150 girls. We all met out there. And we went through an elimination process. It was very rigorous. And when all was said and done, only about 35 or 40 girls made it. And I was one of them. After they weeded out the ones that didn't make it, they put us through 3 months of very intense training. Our trainer was Mondo Guerrero, one of the famous Guerrero brothers.
Yeah.
And also one of the season 1 and 2 famous Glow girls, Nanochka, the Russian, also trained us. Her real name is Lori Palmer, and she's a Las Vegas native. Nanochka and Mondo Guerrero trained us for the 3 months. Everything from how to take a bump to we had to go through training, like how to do our comedy sketches. We trained how to do our Glow raps. We had to write our Glow raps. I mean, everything from scratch. And I wrote a lot of the raps for the other girls. Some of the girls just didn't have that in them, how to write raps. So I ended up writing a lot of the raps for the other girls as well. And where we trained and where we shot the show was this warehouse that used to be some type of a store, like a warehouse store. It was filthy. It was disgusting. It was run down. It was not temperature controlled. So during the summer, it was blazing hot. During the winter, it was freezing cold. When you had to use the bathroom, you had to step over mounds of trash and rat shit and filth to use the toilet. The toilets were cracked. The plumbing wasn't working. It was horrible. The location where we shot the show and trained, it was horrible. But the first 2 seasons, the girls shot the show at the Riviera Hotel and lived at the hotel, but apparently they wore out their welcome there. So by the time they got to season 3 and 4, we were not allowed at the Riviera Hotel.
Oh, God. The Riviera was such a nice place.
Sure, yeah. So they rented these apartments for us, and they put 4 girls to a 2-bedroom apartment. They were not nice apartments. And when we first arrived, within a week of arriving at this apartment complex where they housed us, a murder happened at one of the apartments. And we were able to walk up to the apartment because they had to leave the crime scene the way it was, and the curtains had been ripped open by, I guess, the victim. And so we were able to look in the kitchen window of the murder scene in the apartment, and there was blood everywhere.
Oh, geez.
So this was our welcome.
Yeah.
This was our welcome to Vegas in the apartment complex. A murder happened, and we were looking in the window and looking just at the blood all over and the curtains ripped and shit thrown all over the place. And we're like, oh, this is where they put us.
Yeah,
How
Vegas
nice.
in the 80s. Here we go.
Yes.
Wow.
Jeez.
So I was very fortunate because they recognized that I had some acting chops and comedy skills, and they gave me the opening slot of every show on season 3 and 4. So if you watch Glow seasons 3 and 4, Tiffany's Glow Gossip is the first thing you see before the Glow rap, before the intro, before the credits. I am the first person you see on every episode of seasons 3 and 4.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a real lucky break for me.
Yeah. Well, and nothing like coming in and being in the spotlight again to open it up. And, you know, from what you just said, they really didn't spare anything when it came to training. You know, when you talk about, you know, studio wrestling and that stuff, you know, the Guerrero name is synonymous with that they have them there training, and they did it the right way.
Yeah, the training was definitely good. They trained us well. It's just everything else was subpar.
Yeah.
The pay was subpar. The way they treated us was subpar. I mean, I could get into all kinds of stuff. That was the only thing that was good about it.
And it was a great it was a unique experience.
It
Fair to
certainly
say.
was. You know, we certainly weren't doing it for the money, that's for
Yeah.
sure, because the pay was shit.
and especially living in Vegas, you know, I mean, and well, back then, you know, I'm sure Vegas wasn't the prices that it is today, but you know, it still wasn't a free ride everywhere when it comes to food or entertainment or anything like that. That's for sure.
Oh gosh, the buffets were so cheap back then. Like I remember when I lived in Vegas in the 80s, they were advertising like $5.99 all you could eat, and the buffets had steak and all kinds of good stuff. I mean, it was so cheap. The buffets were cheap and the food was really good.
It's funny because I literally last week I was having a conversation with someone about Vegas, and again, my background is the food business. I do sales consulting during the day. I'm a trained chef. I help run a restaurant at night, and literally we were having those conversations. I said, look, there was a time where a breakfast buffet was $3.99 all you can eat, and a prime rib dinner buffet was $12.99 all you can eat with prime rib and lobster tails. Now that's $80 to $90 for a buffet. And I was talking to someone at the cigar lounge that was just out there for a convention, and they were just going, yeah, it's not what it. I'm like, yeah, not even when we were out there. Gosh, you got to go off the strip for things nowadays, but back in the day, it was. You didn't want to go off the strip back in the day. Now you do.
You did not. So the Rio has always been my favorite place to stay when I go to Vegas. The Rio has a wonderful buffet.
Okay. Yeah, and we were out there a year and a half ago, but we camped while we were out there. We took the camper out, and we stayed out in Henderson. So we kind of avoided, like, we grabbed dinner at a few places while in Vegas, but other than that, I was like, yeah, we're not going to. Gosh, I think the one night on Fremont Street, I got a beer, and Mrs. goes, "What did you pay for that?" I'm like, "It was $5. It was perfect." The next day, I got the same beer on the strip, and it was $18.
Oh my goodness!
I'm like, hey, welcome to the strip. Here we go.
Yeah, when I was at AVN this past January, Foxy Darlin and Bex and Mr. Foxy and Mr. Magic and all of us, we shared a what is it called when you rent one of those houses?
Oh, like an
An
Airbnb.
Airbnb. Yeah, we got an Airbnb in Henderson. It was so much more affordable.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're in Henderson, you're essentially a 15-minute drive to the Strip. 15 to 20 minutes. You're, depending on how far out in Henderson you are. Again, Mrs. Sister lives out in Henderson. Yeah, you're almost better off staying away from the insanity and getting an Uber and calling it a day.
Yeah, and we were on the side of Henderson that's closest to the Las Vegas border, so it was even better.
Yep. Yeah, and that's essentially where we stayed when we went out. It was a hotel in a resort and a campground. It was
Samstown?
Samstown. Yeah, Samstown.
Okay.
So,
I'm
it
familiar
was,
with Samstown.
yeah, it was really close. I'm like, all right, this is fine. This is good enough.
And in a few months, I'm going to be moving back to Vegas because that's where the industry has moved to. It's no longer centered in Los Angeles. Now that I'm getting back into the adult film industry, I'm finding myself having to go where the work is, and the work is now in Vegas. So I'm going to be relocating to Vegas. As much as I hate to leave Arizona, I've been here since 2006. My kids are here. My grandkids are here. My parents are here. I love Arizona. I moved here from California, like I said, in 2006, and I hate to leave it, but that's where the work is, so that's where I'm going.
Yeah, and it's not terribly far. I know the first time I took Mrs. out to Vegas, we went to see her grandparents, who at the time lived just north of Phoenix, and we made the drive down. It wasn't a terrible drive, but it was through the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it is.
You better fill up before you leave because there's no gas stations in between Phoenix, Sun City, Arizona, and Vegas.
Well, it's actually not that bad anymore. Like Seligman and a few other places, there's gas, but I live 90 minutes north of Phoenix. So from where I live, it's only 3 hours and 45 minutes to Vegas. So it's not bad at all. I mean, I get up to Ash Fork, I hang a left, and once I get to Kingman, it's a straight shot. So it's not bad at all.
Yeah, because I think, what did we do? We stopped at a place. It was Nowhere, Arizona.
I was going to say, we literally drove through Nowhere, Arizona.
And like literally, as we were coming back, I stopped there to take a nap, and it was freezing cold. Woke up in the middle of the night and kept driving. But other than that, there was nothing until you got back farther up on that trip.
Yeah, I guess it depends on which way you're going. So like I live in the Prescott area, so I shoot up from Prescott through Chino Valley up to Ash Fork, and there's there's all kinds of businesses like in Chino Valley and stuff, and then you get to Ash Fork and there's stuff, and then between Ash Fork and Kingman, you have a couple places you can stop, but pretty much from Kingman to Vegas there's not much. So you better load up in Kingman.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say, when we were out there for vacation, we left Vegas, and I was hell-bent and set on coming back Route 66 as far as we could come. And I remember coming through Kingman, hauling the camper, because then we hit 66 and we just cruised across the bottom of the country and then shot upwards. So that was an interesting trip. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, camper didn't survive that one.
Yeah, no. So
that's a whole nother story, right?
Literally, we got back and I was like, I could fix that. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. I'll call. They gave me a number to fix it. I went, for another $3,000, I can buy a used one that's 2 years old. No, done. Facebook Marketplace. Here you go. Give me cash. See you later.
I mean, it was past its prime anyway.
Yeah, we had it for 10 years. We got our life expectancy out of it. That's what you do.
A few weeks before I went to Vegas for AVN, my transmission in my car died. And so I had to rent a car, and I got back from Vegas and I picked up my car from the transmission shop. 5 days after I picked up my car from the transmission shop, I was on my way to Flagstaff and my engine blew.
Oh,
so within like 5 or 6 weeks of each other, my transmission and my engine went. So I've been without a car now for nearly 2 months. My car is with my mechanic right now, and he's putting a remanufactured engine in it. But what luck. And it's a Lexus with only 110,000 miles on it, with one of the best engines that Toyota ever made.
Ouch.
So why I was the lucky one, I don't know.
Yeah, it's at the same time you look and you say, hey, guess what? Now you got a brand new car, essentially.
Exactly.
Not that you wanted to.
Nope. Everybody says, why don't you just buy another car? I go, well, first of all, I can't really afford another Lexus. But once I replaced the engine after having replaced the transmission, and I just put a new rack and pinion, new all-terrain tires. It has a new water pump, timing belt, new brakes. I have a new car for a little over $12,000. I couldn't buy a new Lexus for $12,000, so I'll keep it. That's okay, because cosmetically the car is a 9 out of 10. So that's okay. I'll keep it.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. Where you are out in the Southwest, it's not like up here in Pennsylvania. It's not rusting. There's there's no salt from
damage.
Snow, any of that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a brand new vehicle. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. So when Glow kind of ran its course, what kind of sparked you to say maybe the adult industry?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So the reason I left Glow, first of all, is because I was in a lesbian relationship with one of the other wrestlers.
Okay.
And Glow didn't like it. And her name was Nancy Daly. She played the character Dementia, the crazy one with the axe. And she and I were an item, and everybody in Glow knew it. But Glow worked really hard to keep that away from the public because our fans were mostly kids. So what they did was we were performing live at Trump Castle in Atlantic City, and we got to meet Donald Trump, which was really awesome. I got to meet him in person back then in '88. We had been out for the day doing a lot of press. We did the Phil Donahue show and a bunch of other things. When Nancy and I got back to the Trump Castle, our bags were sitting outside. And security wouldn't let us back in the hotel. Now, mind you, this is the middle of January, and there was a blizzard. It was freezing freaking cold.
Yeah, January in Atlantic City isn't fun.
Yeah, it was really cold. It was icy. And so Johnny C., who was the MC for our show, met us at the door. And I said, Johnny C., what's going on? He said, well, you and Nancy have been fired. I was like, what?
Huh?
He goes, come on in and talk to me. So he sat me down, talked to me, and he says, it's because you guys are, involved, and Glow they're firing you for it. So he gave us our final paychecks and gave us our letter of termination. And they did not give us plane tickets to get home to California. They essentially said, here's your last paycheck. Here's your letter of termination. See ya. Find your way back to California.
On the other side of the country. Holy shit.
They did us really dirty. They did us really, really dirty.
Wow.
So we found our way back to California. I believe we put plane tickets on our credit cards, got back to California, and I went straight back to acting because before I got into Glow, I'm SAG-AFTRA. So I went back to acting, doing parts in horror movies and B movies and bit parts on TV shows. But I needed more income, so I called up Matilda the Hun from Glow, who was a good friend of mine, and she hooked me up with a guy who was doing the road shows for the Hollywood Tropicana. So Hollywood Tropicana was famous for mud wrestling, foxy boxing, and shave cream wrestling shows, and they needed girls to do their road shows. So I started doing their traveling shows. And it was doing those traveling shows, the road manager for those shows, he and I fell in love, and we moved in together, and I got pregnant with my first daughter, and I had her in June of 1991. And so he took a job as first DJ and then general manager for the Deja Vu Club. I don't know if you guys have Deja Vu out there. But out here in the West, Deja Vu is a chain of gentlemen's clubs. And at the time in the 90s, every Deja Vu club had an attached adult video and toy store. So when he would finish work on the weekends, he would rent a couple pornos and bring them home, and we would watch pornos and fuck, essentially, have a good time. So when I would watch these movies, I would be like, God, I could do so much better. The acting was shit. The girls didn't take care of their bodies. I just thought I could do so much better. But of course, I was in a relationship with him, and he was not going to have it. So when my daughter was 5 months old, he and I split up, and I moved back to the San Fernando Valley because we were living in Bakersfield, California, which is a couple hours north of Los Angeles.
I have a cousin who lives in Bakersfield. I'm familiar with Bakersfield. Boy, small world.
Yeah, so that's where my oldest daughter was born. She was born at Bakersfield Medical Center, Kern Medical Center. That's what it's called, right? So we moved back to the Valley, and I started stripping to supplement my income as an actress. And so while I was at the strip club, it just occurred to me, I thought, I could get into porno because I'm not with him anymore. So I started asking around the club if anybody knew anybody in the porn biz. And one of the guys who did security knew Rev Sawitz at Pretty Girl International. So he hooked us up, and I went to see Rev at his office, and he took me on as one of his models. And at the same time, he took on Tyffany Minks and Nikki Dial. So because Tyffany Minks came on at the same time as me, I chose to spell my name T-Y instead of T-I to differentiate myself from her. And the reason that I picked the name Tiffany Million is because my wrestling name was Tiffany Mellon.
Yeah.
And I wanted to use Tiffany Mellon as my porn name, but Glow owned it, and they would sue me if I used it. So I picked
they trademarked that. Okay.
They trademarked it, yes. So I picked a name very close to my wrestling name so that my wrestling fans would identify me, like Tiffany Mellon, Tiffany Million.
Sure.
I wanted my porn name to be Mary Christian as a stab at my Christian school upbringing, because I went to Catholic Christian school my whole life, hence I'm now atheist. So I wanted my name to be Mary Christian, but I was advised to use my wrestling name. And John T. Bone, who was a porn director at the time, he's dead now, he directed me in one of my first movies and also in Starbanger 6. He's the one that insisted that I use my wrestling name, and then I said I can't use it because it's trademarked, and he said, well, pick something close, and I picked Tiffany Million. So
nice.
There you go.
And the change, just from what you said with Tiffany Minks and yourself coming in, just the little adjustment in the first name spelling is unique and stands out and differentiated yourself at that point as well.
Yeah, I wanted to differentiate myself, and I thought the spelling was kind of catchy, so I spelt it T-Y. And
sure.
Of course, it didn't matter. They still spelt it T-I, unlike the first dozen box covers I did.
So the growth and, okay, hey, I need to make some extra cash. I'm going to dance. You're comfortable enough with yourself and sexuality to go and dance and then move into that industry. So,
well, actually, let me back up a little bit. Before I was in Glow, before I moved to Southern California, I worked at the world famous Mitchell Brothers O'Farrell Theater in San Francisco for a number of years. And so the Mitchell Brothers has not only live dancing, but they have live girl sex shows as well.
Okay.
So I was already accustomed to doing live girl sex shows, bondage shows, dancing, and all that kind of thing. So, that's something I had already done.
Oh, all right.
And after before I moved back to Southern California, before I broke up with my oldest daughter's father, one of the girls who was dancing at his club at Deja Vu, her name was Adrienne Moore. And so we were looking to supplement our income. And so I said, hey, I'm going to start going back up to the Mitchell Brothers on the weekends, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and doing the live sex shows to make some extra money for us. And he said, well, one of the girls here at the club is interested in being your partner. So he introduced me to Adrienne, and she and I would travel to San Francisco on the weekends, and I would bring my daughter with me. And that's a whole nother story. I'll get into that in a second. But Adrienne Moore.
Okay.
So I'm the one that got her into the porn biz. She and I met each other through Deja Vu in Bakersfield. And she and I started doing sex shows together in San Francisco at the Mitchell Brothers. And when I got into porn, she was interested, but she waited like a year and a half. And then I got her into it. And so I've known her for a very long time.
Yeah, that's a name from back in the day as well. Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All of them. Here. All of them. I mean, we're going down as we shared kind of before we started. I grew up. My parents owned a video store. I had an early introduction into the porn world. So, but
from movies in the drawer.
Yeah, from movies in the drawer. So, as we talk about that, I wasn't quote unquote legal until the end of the 90s, 98. 96. Sorry. Yeah. 98. I got out of high school. 96. So, but some of these names, and you'd even said earlier, the Christy Canyon, the Jill Kelly, all those names resonate with me. So to hear those come back, I'm like, wow.
I introduced her to Cal Jammer at the 94 AVN Award show, but I did not tell her to marry him. And when she told me she was marrying him, I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. But she did. And it didn't last very long. And
unfortunately, you see, and we'll get into it as we kind of progress, as we always do, but the mental health side of the industry, which unfortunately is the negative stigma that goes with sex work and the industry, that was prevalent then as well. And it wasn't it was talked about, but it wasn't as talked about because of the world of social media. And now it's a matter of how do you control that how do you take those mental breaks to not get to that point?
It's never been an issue for me. Actually, it was the opposite. I was sexually abused as a child by a number of people, and I found the industry to be very healing for me. It forced me to confront those issues and deal with them, and I found my time in the industry to be very healing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great that you're able to find that outlet and healing process.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I was also, as a youngster, I was very much a wallflower. I was very shy. I was an introvert. And I'm certainly not that anymore. It's kind of hard to be shy and an introvert when the entire world has seen what you've had for lunch.
Well, and too, as you said, the Catholic school upbringing and all of that. Well, that kind of resonates with Mrs. from the same standpoint as, Catholic school, very religious upbringing. And, we turned around and got into the lifestyle and became swingers over 15 years ago. Oh, wait a minute. Myself, I was very much, I remember the day calling my father, who was in Florida living at the time, and said, hey, you're going to be a grandfather. And he hung up the phone on me.
What?
My father called back crying.
Your mother.
And
your mother called back
my
crying.
mother called back crying and said, how could you, you better be married before his grandchild is born. You had sex before you were married.
In our house.
Oh, that's what he was upset about. He was upset that you were having a child and you weren't married. I see.
I had sex before marriage and I was having a child. He hung up the phone when I told him he was going to be a grandfather. Growing through that
So
stigma.
right, you kind of had the same Catholic upbringing, just
Yeah.
not the Catholic school part of it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Mrs. was a Catholic schoolgirl, but now, sometimes she's a little freaky.
We all are. Us Catholic schoolgirls, we are the freakiest, aren't we?
That's what I've said. I'm just like, oh, shit, watch out. Here we go.
I actually just bought a Catholic school uniform off of Temu, and I bought some Mary Jane, like shiny black patent Mary Jane high heels, because I want to do a photo spread in a Catholic school uniform.
Nice.
I had a year and a half after I got into the industry in the 90s, I started my own production company. I produced 7 movies. They were very successful.
Yep.
I sold some of them to the Playboy Channel. But the name of my company was Immaculate Video Conceptions. And yes, that was a stab at my Catholic school upbringing.
Yeah.
Now, I have relaunched my company just recently, but I have tweaked it a little bit. I now call it Immaculate Visual Conceptions because I don't want to limit myself to video. So I am coming back into the industry, not just as talent, but as producer director as well, picking up where I left off.
Awesome.
And the type of movies that I produced in the 90s, first of all, I was highly discouraged. When I started my company, it was something that not many women were doing. It was really just like Candida Royale and Ona Z were doing it.
It was the guy. It was the guys' club. Without you are not wrong. It was the boys' club, and that's it. We had that conversation with someone on a previous episode, on a previous couple episodes.
I was not only very discouraged from starting my company, but the type of product that I wanted to put out, I was told would not be successful. I wanted to combine slapstick comedy along the lines of like Young Frankenstein with sex. And I was told that it wouldn't sell. You can't combine slapstick comedy with sex. It won't sell. Well, you know what? I fucking did it, and I was very successful.
And even then, so that was kind of the precursor. We've had those conversations because you see the gonzo porn. However, there's been research studies that we've talked about here on the show that a lot of the female viewers,
right?
They want storyline. They want comedy. They want something. And I, as a guy, I'm cool watching, hey, how you doing? Cool, drop trowel, let's bang and do it. At the same time, I enjoy a movie with substance. I enjoy watching substance with good sex. Mrs. is about substance with good scenes as well, and a good storyline and characters and plots. And that plays true back in the 90s as well as it does today. So why wouldn't it work?
Well, my 3 most successful films were called Jailhouse Cock, Generally Horny Hospital, and the XXX Files / Lust in Space.
I remember that last one.
Yes, those, and I actually won the award that year for Best Non-Sex Performance in the XXX Files Lust in Space, and those scenes are on my Twitter. But those were my 3 most successful movies. I produced another 4, but those parodies that I was told were not going to be successful were my top sellers.
And I've said as well. So myself and the XXX Files, I will say I do remember that one because at that point in time, I had the dumbest freaking high school stupid crush on Gillian Anderson from the X-Files. Sorry, she was
really?
a ginger. And I'm like, there's a porn about that?
Oh, yes.
All right. But even now today, when you look at the parodies, I am, and I've shared it, I am a huge Axel Braun fan because of the parody work he does.
Yeah.
So the parody point is awesome.
When I got out of the business, and we can get into why I got out of the business. I didn't get out of the business because I wanted to. when I was leaving the business, the next project on my plate that I never got to make was called Saturday Night Beaver. And it was a parody, of course, of Saturday Night Fever. And it was going to be brilliant. The opening scene, oh my God, I had the most awesome idea for the opening scene where John Travolta is walking down the street and all you see, he's, down the sidewalk, and all you see are his feet on the sidewalk. Dun-na-na, dun-na, 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 dun-na. I had this great idea, and I never got to make it because in late 1994, my father, who lived in a small town in Montana, suddenly passed away of a heart attack. He was only 56 years old. And I was the executor of his estate. So I was having to fly back and forth to Montana and not only deal with my emotions over the sudden death of my father, but his ex-wife was coming after everything. Even though she wasn't entitled to anything, she was battling us over the estate, my brother and I. At the same time, my husband and I were divorcing. So my husband, who was known in the industry as Richie Razor, he appeared with me in a lot of scenes. He was actually a student at UCLA for engineering, but I got him into the business. So he did a number of movies with me and with other girls too. He and I were going through a divorce. And then also at the same time, my daughter, who was 5.5 at the time, or, like 5 or 5.5, was going through some severe trauma that I don't want to reveal because it would, it's her privacy.
No. Yeah.
But she was going through some severe trauma. So all these things hit me at one time. And I was like, you know what? I need some me time.
Yep.
So
Family comes first. Family will always come first. No question.
I had to take a hiatus from the industry, and I didn't know how long I was going to be away, but I had to deal with all this crap. While I was away, my agent, Sherry Spillane, that's a whole nother story, ex-wife of famous writer Mickey Spillane, got me a job in radio. And I got hired to do this radio show, and I did it for a little over 4 years, and I did very well. And then in 2000, I gave birth to my second daughter. And then shortly thereafter, I got married. And I was married for 23 years until June of this past year. So that's why I left and didn't come back for 30 years.
Yeah.
And so once my husband and I divorced in June, it suddenly occurred to me, I was like, I can go back. So
go back to what you loved back then.
Go back to what I loved.
Sure.
Exactly. So I started my OnlyFans and Loyal Fans pages first, just to kind of test the waters. And then after I'd had those for about a month, I was like, okay, I'm ready. So I made the announcement on social media that I am back. And it just like wildfire. It just traveled around like wildfire. And everybody started calling me to do podcasts and interviews. I mean, just like word traveled like crazy. And here I am.
And the name, when you pop back up, you had created that name from the 80s through the 90s, and people knew you. And we haven't even touched on that 2000s period. So,
yes.
We'll take a short break, and you know what? This will actually flow into next week's episode and the continuation with Tyffany Million. All right. Well, as we said, that was part 1 with Tyffany this week.
With more to come.
Yes, definitely more to come. In more ways than one, as she's poised to hop right back into the industry. So, again, hope you enjoyed that. We truly did. Very appreciative. And be sure to tune in next week for the full ending of our conversation. Again, as she said, she'll be at Exotica Chicago coming up here in just a very few weeks from this launch, about 4 weeks out. So
4 weeks exactly.
yeah. So again, we will be there as well.
With bells on.
Yep, we'll all 3 days. Remember the Fannies, the nomination phase is winding down very fast.
When did they end?
Don't know.
Okay.
Yep. Fuck that one up. Don't know. But it's coming up.
Get your votes in.
Yep.
And then after that is the top 10 after that, correct?
Yeah, I believe it was the top 10 after that. And so that'll be voted on. And the award show is that Saturday night, April 12th at Exotica. Tickets are on sale. We're still up in the air if we're going or not. Just being honest. Not sure. There's normally a lot of stuff happening, a lot of other after parties, things like that. So we're not sure at this point if we're going to go there and be in attendance for the evening, or we're just going to do some other fun shit.
TBD.
Yeah. As this launches, we'll throw a little other plug in there that in 2 weeks, and if you are signed up for our email list and our monthly newsletter, you would know that coming up at the end of March, the 28th and 29th,
Oh, yes.
the stunning,
Beautiful.
always fun, true friend of the show, as our listeners know, Kenzie Taylor will be in Pittsburgh at Cheerleaders Friday and Saturday night. So, you'll find us there one evening. It'll actually be Saturday because I got to work on Friday night, overnight in beautiful Morgantown, West Virginia. So we have that. But with that, we're going to call this week's show a wrap. Again, be sure to tune in next week for the other half of this conversation. Don't forget to follow us on our social medias. Berg Couple for Fun on Twitter and Instagram. The Bergs on Facebook and Reddit. OnlyFans
Yeah.
what's the OnlyFans? There's 2 of them.
There are.
Did you? Yeah, I remember that one. There's 2 of them. So there is ours. Is Berg Couple for Fun, but then
Yes.
Mrs. has her own.
That's right.
Oh, and that is
Mrs. Berg.
all right. So you can catch us there as well. You can hit us up on email, thebergs@inourtub.com.
Right?
Our website is inourtub.com.
Catch us on Free Swap or
Full.
full Free Swap. Full Swap Radio. See, you asked me if I remember my
Free
lines.
for all swap. I mean, hey.
On
more the
Full Swap
merrier.
Radio.
Yes. Monday at 9 and Fridays at 1. And hey, keep an eye out on those social medias as well. That's where our travel plans and the upcoming where we gonna be is gonna be. So, with that, remember to pay for your porn. Support all the wonderful, beautiful content creators and performers that we have on this show, that we know within the industry. Take care of yourself, mental health. Do what makes you keep ticking and being yourself. Remember to wrap it before you tap it. Lick it before you stick it. And until next time.
We'll keep the lights on and the tub warm for you.